Good morning, John Q. This is the United States of Amnesia, broadcasting today, as every day, from somewhere between memory and forgetfulness. Today's headline: Free Speech, R.I.P. Last night, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert came quietly to an end. Another voice of discontent gone silent, another late-night set gone dark. His final guest was Paul McCartney. Strange, really. One of the last surviving voices of the 60s, saying goodbye to one of the last surviving places in America where mockery of power was still considered a patriotic act. The White House has never cared much for criticism, the Oval Office less than most. But before liberals begin clutching themselves like this is something invented sometime after breakfast yesterday, it might be useful to remember that America has done this before. Abraham Lincoln, for example. Yes, that Lincoln. The great emancipator, the marble saint of the Republic. In 1861, war arrived, and with it came the familiar argument that free speech had become just a little too dangerous to remain entirely free. Lincoln did not do it timidly. He did it with the delicate touch of a cannonball entering a church window. That's why when Frankie Howard raised his voice in protest, he got taught a lesson the hard way. Howard was the editor of the Baltimore Exchange. He was also the grandson of Francis Scott Key, the man who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. Just after midnight, federal troops came to Howard's home, arrested him without a warrant, and carried him away to Fort McHenry. Yes, you heard me right. That Fort McHenry. The very same fort his grandfather had immortalized in song as the symbol of the land of the free. The grandson of the man who gave America its anthem, imprisoned by America for criticizing the President of the United States. But Lincoln wasn't the first. There were others. John Adams, for example, another keeper of the flame, another man entrusted with protecting the Constitution and its Bill of Rights, another thin-skinned chief executive who discovered that criticism of him and his handling of tensions with France had become just a little too dangerous to remain entirely legal. So editors were arrested, newspapers threatened, critics jailed. And the Republic survived that too, just as it would survive Lincoln a generation later. Because memory survived. The memory of what happens when fear becomes useful. Fear of the South, fear of anarchists, communists, terrorists, fear of the enemy within, fear of the enemy without. The names change. The temptation does not. And eventually every generation hears some version of the same bullshit. Freedom must be temporarily restrained in order to save freedom. Up until now, our republic has survived that bargain. But one day, perhaps very soon, I fear, it may not. A word to the wise. Truth is virtue, amnesia a sin. Remember.